Hi, this is Adam from Recreation Services, and as part of the Recovery and Relaxation Program, we're going to be adding some tips to help you get the most out of your recovery and get the most out of your workouts as a result. Recovery is potentially the most important part of your workout program because that is where the adaptation to exercise occurs. So every time you exercise, you get a depletion of energy stores, as well as potentially a breakdown in muscle tissue. And during your recovery is when you replenish those energy stores, as well as rebuild those muscle tissues, and your muscles also just learn from the exercise and become more efficient and make you stronger. A neglect of recovery also can lead to a loss or a decrease in performance, as well as an increased risk of injury. So behind me I have two scenarios, one using proper recovery methods and the other one using inadequate recovery. So for example, each square here indicates a workout. So as you work out, you get a drop in performance because of fatigue and loss of energy. You give yourself enough time to recover and a little extra for super compensation. And you add another stimulus, you get a drop off, you recover again, add another stimulus, and you go on and on like that. If you don't give yourself enough recovery time, you see what happens on this side. So you add a workout, you get a decrease in performance, but before you become fully recovered, you add another stimulus, you get more breakdown, more fatigue, start to recover, add another stimulus, and you see your overall performance start to dip there. So this would be an example of overtraining or under recovery because you're not giving yourself enough time to recover and your performance is dropping as a result. Also, the further below your baseline that your performance goes, the longer recovery you're going to need to get back to the top here. So at some point down the road, you're going to need to take this time anyway. So you might as well take it in little spurts along the way rather than, have a drop off in performance and then have to take even more time to get back to baseline or better. So there's several ways you can implement recovery. So there's short-term recovery, which could be considered a cool down to your workout. So whether it's stretching or very light movement, walking even. It could also mean a post-workout meal where you help replenish, carbohydrate and protein and things like that to help you kind of rebuild and refuel. You could also go in slightly more long-term, so you could have a workout every week or 7 to 10 days that is a recovery workout where you either do something very light or you could have a passive recovery day where you do no exercise at all. We'll talk about those another day. But basically you have a recovery day where you either do very little or nothing at all that helps you still replenish and repair. A more long-term plan would be if you had a training block of 4 or 6 weeks, and in that block you had a week, probably the last week, that's a recovery week. So you break down for 4 or 5 weeks, and then you take a nice easy week where you'd still be doing something through that week, but not enough to add more stress. You get to recover, and then you get to recover and adapt to the training block you've done and then prepare you for the next block. So an analogy would be sleep, which is also a part of recovery. But sleep is a good example because if we have consistent bad sleeps, we're not getting enough rest, eventually we start to break down and you're just not able to keep going at the same rate if you're not getting enough sleep. The same goes for recovery in a physical sense. Your muscles keep getting beat down, you're getting lower and lower in energy, and you just can't sustain that. Part of recovery is listening to your body. Obviously, you can schedule these recovery days, but if you find that you are just breaking down or you're not able to bring the same energy to your workouts, it might be a sign that you need to alter your schedule, shuffle your recovery days around a little bit, and get a little more recovery. And I mentioned sleep as being a good analogy and also part of recovery. Sleep's very important for recovery as well because consistent sleep deprivation also leads to a drop in human growth hormone as well as glycogen synthesis. So your body is not able to rebuild muscle as fast, and you're also not replenishing your muscle stores as fast. So sleep's a very important part of recovery. So if you are giving yourself the regular amount of rest, but you find you're still not recovering, it could be your sleep and might need to be addressed. So that's all I'm going to cover today, but we'll stay tuned for upcoming tips, and good luck.